Depression can often feel like it's going to last forever. But that probably isn't the reality. I can pretty much guarantee you weren't born depressed, and even if you can't remember the last time you weren't depressed, it's not written in stone that you'll feel that way for the rest of your life. Obviously, everyone is different and experiences depression in different ways, and it's absolutely not my intention to underestimate anyone's depression or make light of it, but in my experience, depression, or at least the worst stage of it, doesn't last forever, and there are things you can do to expedite its ending, or at least kind of improve your chances of feeling a little bit better a little bit sooner. So in this video, I'm going to share the things that I found work for me. I'm not a doctor, a therapist, a mental health expert, and I'm not stupid enough to think that I've come up with this perfect formula that's going to solve all depression. I'm just a bloke sharing some things that I found work for me when I'm in a pretty crap place, help me get to a slightly better one. So yeah, hopefully they'll help you. If you've been stuck feeling depressed for a while, the first thing to do is decide that you've had enough of feeling the way you feel right now, and that you're willing to do whatever it takes to stop feeling like that. I know that sounds obvious, not many people would choose to be depressed, but really be firm in that decision and really mean it. Because if you want to feel differently to how you've been feeling, you're going to have to do some things differently to what you've been doing. So if you come to try something and it feels a bit uncomfortable or weird, just remember that strong resolution you've made to try whatever it takes to feel better than you do right now. And if it helps, which it tends to for me, just treat it like an experiment. Go into it without any expectation. Just say you're going to try these things, see if they make you feel differently or better, and if not, what have you lost? You can just go back to doing things you've been doing and feeling the way you've been feeling. You don't need to question in advance whether or not you think it's going to work. Yeah, I guess the short version of that is don't knock it till you've tried it, but yeah, just give it a week, ideally 2, and really give it a proper go and stick to it. And if you don't feel any better than you have been at the end of that, let me know and I'll give you your money back. Depression makes it easy to fall into kind of unhealthy sleep habits, so staying up late, getting up late, sleeping at weird times during the day, and then not being able to get to sleep at night. Those things are probably the result of your depression, but they also contribute to it. And getting up at the same time of day each day is a really good habit that can help you feel better. Imagine you've got 2 guys, Brian and Dave. Brian sets his alarm for 7 AM every morning, gets up pretty soon after that and cracks on with his day. Dave doesn't set an alarm, so sometimes he wakes up early, but then he'll go back to sleep for a few hours. Sometimes he'll wake up at 10 AM, but sometimes he doesn't get out of bed until the middle of the afternoon because he stayed up late watching old episodes of Family Guy. And then often he can't get to sleep at night because his sleep schedule is so out of whack. So he gives up, turns on the TV and, oh look. Which one of those 2 guys, Brian or Dave, do you think is more likely to feel good about himself?
We're all depressed.
It's Brian. The answer is Brian. Obviously, the whole getting up thing really starts the night before, so I've never really bought into that whole hustle culture thing that says you've got to be up at 4 AM every day, otherwise you're a loser who's never going to amount to anything.
Why would you not wake up at 4:30?
Main reason because obviously sleep is important, and to get kind of 8 hours sleep, if you want to get up at 4 AM, means you've got to be asleep by 8 PM the night before, which, going to sleep at 8 PM is fine if you're 4 years old, or, if that's what you want to do and that kind of works for your life, then fair enough. But for me, trying to be asleep by 8 o'clock every night is a bit extreme. So I know that I want to be awake by 6:30 each morning, so I've got to be asleep by 10:30 the night before. Just find whatever time works for you in terms of getting up based on how much stuff you've got to do each morning, and then obviously, work out what time you'd have to be asleep by the night before to make that work and get whatever amount of sleep it is you want to get. And at the start, I would say try and do it 7 days a week, because you're trying to make a bit of a habit. And so if you do it 5 days during the week and then you have something completely different at the weekend, it makes it kind of harder for that habit to become a habit. It makes it hard for that habit to stick. So at the beginning, I would say try and do it 7 days a week. So that's waking up dealt with, but what's the first thing you do after you wake up? 80% of people look at their phone before they do anything else in the morning. Looking at your phone first thing in the morning means that you're giving your phone the power to kind of determine the first thing that you think about in the day. It could be social media, throwing a load of random stuff at you, a work email that stresses you out, or just the news. Whatever it is, studies have shown that checking your phone in the first hour after you wake up increases stress and anxiety and makes you more distracted throughout the rest of your day. Plus, you'll typically end up spending a lot longer on your phone than you intended, so you think you're just going to check important messages for a couple of minutes, and then 45 minutes later you're running late because you've ended up watching videos on TikToks of like dogs dancing to Taylor Swift. So instead of all that, the first thing you can do in the morning after you wake up is meditate. That sounds a bit bossy, doesn't it? You know, obviously that's my recommendation. You do what you want. Go to the toilet first if you want. Who am I to say? You know, I don't want loads of people commenting saying I ended up wetting myself in the middle of the morning because you told me how to meditate, and normally I go to the toilet, and now I'm even more depressed. If you're about to click off the video because you think that meditation is a load of kind of woo-woo, airy-fairy, mumbo-jumbo stuff that only hippies actually do, just hold on, because I used to think pretty much that, but I can honestly say that meditation is one of the biggest things that has made a major impact to my mental health and just to me as a whole. And it's not just me, there are loads of really successful and really happy people who credit meditation as having played a massive role in that happiness and success. There are loads of different types of meditation, so I'm not going to try and cover it all here. But the meditation that I found works best for me when I'm feeling depressed is from a book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. I'd strongly recommend that you read the book, so I'll put a link down below. But basically the meditation only takes kind of 8 to 10 minutes. All you do is find a piece of music that you like, ideally something without lyrics. So you just play the music, and then with each breath in, you just repeat to yourself in your head, I love myself. Now, if you're anything like me, the thought of doing that and sort of saying to yourself, even internally, I love myself, makes you cringe, then yeah, I get it. That's exactly how I felt, and you know, still even talking about it now feels pretty weird. But I guess the fact that that feels so uncomfortable is probably related to the reason that you need to do it. You know, if it feels so weird to love yourself, then yeah, maybe that's something you need to work on a bit. But also, remember I was talking at the start of the video about that kind of resolution to try anything that might help you feel better, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable or weird in the short term. Well, I'd say that this is definitely one of those things. So yeah, do that meditation every day, first thing after you wake up. And once you've found a piece of music that works for you and that you like, stick with it, because having that same piece of music, again, kind of helps build that sort of pattern and habit in your brain. So it helps you kind of get to that place quicker in the future the more you do it. Straight after meditation, I do a quick journaling exercise. Now, journaling is another thing that I used to think was for kind of emo teenage girls, but now that I've got over my sort of pride or whatever it was that was stopping me from doing it, I can't recommend it strongly enough. I've got a special notepad that I use just for this, and each day I'll kind of start a new page and I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things that I did well yesterday, 3 things I can do to make today great, 3 positive affirmations, and 1 thing that I want to achieve today, so that even if everything else goes to total shit, I don't feel like the day's been a complete waste. I definitely recommend doing it by hand rather than on your computer or your phone. And remember that no one else is ever going to read it, so you don't have to worry about your handwriting or your spelling or grammar or any of that kind of stuff. And the whole thing takes like 5 minutes, 10 at tops. So with the meditation, you're looking at 15 to 20 minutes total, which is way less time than I used to waste on my phone in the morning. And yeah, I can tell you now that it makes me feel a lot better than spending that time on my phone used to. There's loads of science behind journaling and the reasons that it works. I don't think I'm an expert enough, or I don't want this video to be ridiculously long, so I'm not going to cover that all now, but I got that particular format of journaling from my good friend Laura Try, who explains journaling much better than I have or could. So I'll put a link to her video down below. I'd really recommend you go and check that out. Don't want this to be one of those, oh, so you feel really depressed and like there's no point to anything, and that you can't understand how anybody finds joy in anything, and you can't imagine ever feeling differently to how you do now, and what is the point of happiness anyway.
But if you talk about going for a 5K,
that one, if you're one of them, exercise, that's the single answer to all your problems, because I know that right now it probably doesn't feel like it, but they say that mood follows action, and I've found that to be 100% true. Like, if you imagine someone who's depressed, you might imagine someone who's kind of lounging around at home, kind of surrounded by old takeaway boxes and empty ice cream tubs, and sort of, Netflix is saying to them, like, are you still watching? Are you still alive? They haven't washed or showered for a few days. And I'm not saying that's what depression is, but I'm just saying kind of, the stereotype of what that might look like could be like that. But what you wouldn't imagine, probably, if you're trying to think of someone who's depressed, is someone who's kind of out and about, exercising, improving their health, getting fresh air, working on their fitness and all that jazz. Obviously, when you are depressed, the thought of doing those things isn't always very appealing. Like, you might be kind of lacking energy, and the thought of kind of, making yourself go out for a run or whatever just isn't very appealing. And, you're feeling bad enough as it is without making yourself do something you don't want to do. But yeah, if you wait until you feel like it, you're probably waiting quite a long time, and exercise just does make you feel better. Like, I know it's annoying to hear if you're not feeling like that's the case, but it just does. For me, it's things like running, workouts, football, surfing, sometimes climbing. I've recently started playing tennis, but for you it could be anything you like, particularly if it gets you outside in the fresh air. That's even better. If possible, I'd recommend doing this bit of exercise as the kind of next thing in your day before you've sort of got ready and started work or whatever it is that you've got to do that day. So 6 days a week I'll do either a run or a workout pretty much straight after my journaling exercise. And then the other things, so like football, surfing, climbing or whatever, they're obviously a bit more time specific, so they'll come kind of later in the day whenever they're on. And yeah, just going back to that whole not feeling like it thing, since I've started this whole routine, there's been, I think, one day where I actually quite fancied going for a run. All the others, I've like put it off for a few minutes, like really, I'd have happily sacked it off. But every single time, without fail, I've always felt better after it, and I've been really glad that I did it. Like, I can hear myself now, and I know that you're probably thinking, you're just annoying, shut up. But yeah, I can't say it any other way, I don't think. But yeah, I guess there's a reason why all those kind of, like annoying, happy, healthy runner people are like that. It's because they are happy and healthy and running. So yeah, even if you don't feel like it, like everything else in this video, just give it a go for ideally a fortnight. And yeah, see if it makes you feel better. So for me, knowing that by 8 AM I've meditated, journaled and done some exercise, so I've done something for my head and my body, makes me feel so much better than the days when I used to kind of get up at 8 AM and think, oh crap, I really need to kind of hurry up so that I can get ready in time. The final thing is a bit different to the rest in that, it's not part of a morning routine. It's not necessarily like a concrete task that you can just add in and see if it makes you feel better. But basically, if all you ever think about is how you feel, you're probably not going to feel very good. In the same way that if all you ever think about is how much money you've got, then you're probably always going to feel like you haven't got enough. Or if all you ever think about is how you look, then you're probably not going to feel like you ever look the way you want to. So ideally, you'd have some kind of life purpose to focus on. So people who are sort of fully committed to something they really believe in, I think they're less likely to get depressed, because they might have some days where, that thing they're really focusing on isn't going very well and they get a bit down, but they've always got that sort of passion and the cause to keep them going. Of all the things in this video, this is the toughest one for me, and I actually think that kind of feeling like my life lacks a bit of purpose tends to be one of the things that kind of leads me down that path towards depression. It's something that I'm working on, and yeah, I'll probably sort of maybe make a different video about that, because I think life purpose is probably a bit of a big topic to try and just tag on to the end of this. But if you're in the same boat as me and you don't feel like you've got much of a life purpose, and you feel like, oh, maybe that is contributing to your depression, then just try and find something that you care about even a little bit to focus on. So pick anything that you want to do in the next week or two, and just give some attention to that. So it might be I don't know, a plant that you've got that isn't doing very well and you're going to sort of try and get it back into good condition, or like you've always wanted to make your own pizza dough and for the next week you're going to kind of experiment and sort of try and get good at doing that. I don't know, whatever it is, it's completely up to you. But yeah, if it's something that helps other people, that's even better, because it's been widely shown that kind of helping other people is one of the biggest things you can do to make yourself feel better. Yeah, that's it for now. So if you are feeling down, then yeah, I hope you'll give these things a go for, like I said, a week or two, and I hope it does make you feel better. Obviously there's more to kind of a happy and fulfilling life than just this sort of morning routine and stuff I've discussed here, but the way I view it is kind of, if you imagine like a boxer who's been sort of completely knocked out, he's flat on the canvas, you know, you're at zero, you can't imagine a way forward. These things for me, I feel like kind of are the first stage, like open your eyes, putting your hand down on the canvas to sort of start to get up. You know, they maybe get you to like at least a 1 or a 2, and from there you can sort of build and start to actually feel a bit of hope. Because yeah, when you're in the pits, I guess you just don't have any hope. And that's the hardest thing. Like, it's really hard to do the things that you know might make you feel better because you just don't feel like it. You feel like it's pointless. So yeah, I'm hopeful that you will give these things a bash for a week or two. And yeah, if you do, then I really do hope that they help you out. Let me know how you go. Look after yourself, and I'll see you in the future.